this is Joanna and I'm back today creating a fun shaker card. And I'm using this really cute set from My Favorite Things. I just love all the dogs and I think the sentiment on this is great. And I will also use this stitched frame dies from Simon Says Stamp. And I have stamped the dog and I have stamped his face and I'm just coloring in with Copics. And I'm using warm grey shadows. And I'm starting with the lightest and then I go in with the mid-tone and then I shade again with the darkest and then I just go back again to blend everything together. So this is really easy copy coloring, nothing fancy at all. And I use some red for the collar and some black for his nose. And then I will create the shaker element and I will use the bone. So I will stamp the bone a couple of times and then I will fussy cut all of these out. And there are dies that you can buy that matches this set. I didn't buy that die and after when I create this card I kind of wish that I did because there was a lot of fussy cutting. But I'm starting out by cutting out the dog and I'm cutting right against the stamped border. And now it's time these are going to be the shaker elements, so I'm cutting them out, but on these I'm leaving a thin white border around them. It's a little bit easier that way because I'm going to stamp these on the back side as well. I will only show you how to do one of these and then I will cut all of them out off camera, so you don't have to see that. But they are stamped on the back side and on the front side. And for the dogs, I'm coloring in the white edges with my black Copic marker, just to make them look really finished. And it also looks like I've cut them out perfectly. And now it's time to create the front panel. And I'm using the largest stitched rectangle die. And this, I'm cutting it out from a standard size card because I'm ending up with a frame and I'm going to use that frame on another card. And I'm also, at the same time, I'm cutting the shaker window. And this is also the largest of the dies, circle dies. And I bring it over to my die cut machine. And as you can see, I will save the frame that I cut because it has also a stitched edge, and I will also save the circle for another project. And then I have to cut a hole in the card base as well. So I'm using the piece that I just cut as a guide, and then I adhere my die again with some, I just put it in place, it's really easy, just nesting it in there, and then I will hold it in place with some post-it tape. And it didn't cut very well the first time, so I can just nestle the die in again so I can get a clean cut. So I just run that through one more time. And here is the perfect circle. So then I have stitched lines on the inside and on the outside. And now I will stamp my sentiment. And as you can see in the right corner, I have cut and stamped all of my bones. And I'm stamping my sentiment with VersaFine. And I haven't used this stamp before, so I was just testing it out there on the side on a scrap piece of paper. And I'm using my Fisker stamp press. This is a really good tool. It's really easy to line up the sentiment. And now it's time to work on the shaker area. And I have these acetate sheets. And if you don't have this kind of acetate sheet, you can use old packaging. I used that before, but I've actually run out. So that's why I had to buy some acetate. And I'm adhering them with some Redlined tape. This is a really strong tape. and that will hold my acetate in place. And it's really hard to get the backing off. But here it's finally off, and I will adhere the acetate sheet. And then I just use my scissors to cut the excess off. And as you can see here, I'm holding my scissors in an angle, so the acetate is slightly smaller, so there is no glare from the acetate when the card is finished. And this shaker card is going to be rather flat, so it's not a traditional shaker card. So I'm using my red tape again, and I'm just pulling off the backing. And just to make sure that there are no fingerprints, I'm using my scarf to wipe them off. And then I put all of the bones inside of the shaker area. And I'm putting the prettiest side down, so it will be in the front of the card, because when I stamped them on the back side, none of them were exactly right, so... But it's fine, I think. No one would ever know. But I know, of course. And then I take the other acetate sheet and just cut it down to size and wiping the fingerprints off it. And adhering it. And there it is, the thin shaker card. Or at least a part of it. And here I'm just testing it out with the little doggy. And this is going to go on the inside the head. So I'm testing it out to see. And I can't put him like that because then a part of his body will show, so I have to put him this way instead. So I'm using this is multi-matte medium, and this is a really good glue. I'm always I use this all the time. It's when it dries matte, so if anything oozes out on the side, it doesn't matter because it won't show. And I'm using my tweezers to help me line it up. And I think he looks so cute. He looks like he's hanging off the side. And then I use my acrylic block to apply some pressure over him so he dries flat. So I left him there for a couple of minutes. This dries really fast. And then I will adhere this piece onto the card base. So I'm using my Redlined tape again. And this is so strong. I actually pulled off my nail polish. So this is a really strong tape, so this is going nowhere. And then I line it up. And now all that is left is to glue the head on the inside. And this bottle is almost empty, so that's why I'm struggling with it to get the glue out. And all the supplies that I use, they are listed down below or over at my blog, and you can find that address in the YouTube description. So I hope that you enjoy this video, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.